All right. So, we're diving into some pretty interesting stuff today.
Yeah.
And you've brought this information about pudendal neuralgia,
Right.
which I'm sure many of our listeners are like, okay, I kind of know what that is, but maybe not totally.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got this product balance complex and some notes about vaginalquiz.com.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like you're sort of connecting the dots between all of these.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is great because I think that's what we're going to try and do.
Absolutely.
So we're going to explore, how pudendal neuralgia can kind of ripple outwards and affect other aspects of your vaginal health.
Right.
The role of the vaginal microbiome. We talk about a lot on this show.
To good reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how Balance Complex is positioning itself as a potential way to support some of these issues. And then later we'll also kind of take a look at vaginalquiz.com as a tool to understand your individual needs.
Sounds good.
Our goal here is like always to extract the most useful insights from everything you've shared. So you come away with a clear picture of how these things all relate without feeling like, oh my God, I just got hit with a ton of information.
Right. Too much.
Yeah. Information overload.
We want to break it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
Let's start with pudendal neuralgia.
Mm-hmm.
What is that in essence, and what kind of impact can it have on vaginal health?
So pudendal neuralgia, it basically chronic pain, and it comes from this nerve called the pudendal nerve,
Okay.
which is a major nerve in the pelvic area.
Hmm.
And this nerve, it gets irritated or damaged.
Okay.
So this nerve is kind of like the information superhighway for sensation in a lot of key places down there.
Mm-hmm.
The vulva, the vagina, the perineum, and the rectal region.
So it's a pretty major player.
Yeah, big time.
Wow. Okay.
So when it's not working, right, the signals it sends can lead to pretty serious discomfort.
Yeah, and this isn't, a mild annoyance or something. It can really impact someone's life.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the kind of pain that can be sharp or burning or achy, and it just won't quit. And it makes everyday stuff we take for granted, like sitting, walking, even intimacy and, taking care of yourself down there. It makes it all really difficult.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about a significant nerve issue causing ongoing pain in a very sensitive area.
Right.
So how does this directly tie into vaginal health? It sounds like it could create a cascade of effects.
It really does. It's like a domino effect. So think about it this way. You have chronic nerve pain in your pelvic region that can lead to your pelvic floor muscles always being tense.
Oh, I see.
And the tissues down there, they can get super sensitive. We call it hypersensitivity.
Okay.
And then on top of that, the nerve irritation can cause inflammation in the whole pelvic area. So it's this cycle where the nerve pain can actually make other vaginal health issues worse.
So it's not just the initial nerve problem, but how your body reacts to it that can really spiral into other things.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of secondary complications might someone experience because of this?
So unfortunately, people with pudendal neuralgia are more likely to get things like bacterial vaginosis.
Right.
Which is when the balance of bacteria in the vagina gets thrown off, and yeast infections because of too much fungus, and even UTIs.
Oh, wow.
And we also know that chronic pain and the stress that comes with it can really mess with your immune system,
Right.
making the vagina less able to fight off these infections.
So your defenses are down.
Exactly.
Okay, so that paints a really clear picture of how a nerve issue can throw things off balance in terms of your vaginal health.
Mm-hmm.
But let's dig a little deeper into the specifics here. How does pudendal neuralgia lead to hypersensitivity and pelvic floor tension? What's going on there?
It's actually kind of fascinating how the body tries to protect itself.
Okay.
When you're in constant pain, whether it's sharpshooting or just a burning ache, your nervous system gets really sensitive.
It's on high alert.
Yeah, it's like the volume gets turned way up.
Mm-hmm.
So even normal sensations can feel painful, and that's the hypersensitivity.
I see.
And then your pelvic floor muscles, they tense up and sometimes even spasm because of the pain. It's like they're bracing themselves, trying to prevent more pain or injury.
So your body's trying to protect you, but that protection is kind of backfiring.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword.
Wow. And then you mentioned inflammation too. How does the nerve pain actually trigger that?
Well, chronic pain, no matter where it's from, usually involves inflammation.
Okay.
When a nerve is damaged or irritated, your body sends out these chemical signals.
Right.
And those chemicals can cause inflammation in the tissues around the nerve. And for pudendal neuralgia, that can mean the vaginal tissues.
Mm-hmm.
And when those tissues are inflamed, it weakens the vagina's natural barrier.
So that's more vulnerable.
Exactly. It's easier to get tiny injuries and irritation and those infections we talked about.
So it's like a chain reaction. Pain leads to tension and inflammation, and then the vagina's defenses are lowered.
It's all connected.
All right, now let's talk about something we know is super important for vaginal health, the microbiome.
Yes, the microbiome.
How do pudendal neuralgia and all these related issues mess with that delicate balance of bacteria?
So this is really key. The vaginal microbiome is this amazing ecosystem where good bacteria, mostly lactobacillus, are the stars of the show.
Okay.
They produce lactic acid, which keeps the vagina acidic, usually between 3.8 and 4.5 pH.
Yeah, that acidic environment is so important, right?
Huge. Yeah, it's like a natural defense against bad bacteria and fungus.
Right.
But the chronic pain, the inflammation, even the pelvic tension from pudendal neuralgia, it can disrupt this balance in a few different ways.
So if that bacterial balance is disrupted, what happens with those infections we talked about?
Well, when the good lactobacillus bacteria decrease and the pH goes up, it creates the perfect environment for bad bacteria to take over. And that's what causes bacterial vaginosis.
Right, with the odor and unusual discharge.
Exactly. And the same goes for yeast infections.
Okay.
When the microbiome is off, it's easier for candida to grow too much, and that's what causes
Yeah, itching, burning, all that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, harmful bacteria can more easily travel up to the urinary tract, which is how you get UTIs.
Wow. So pudendal neuralgia really can set off this chain reaction that affects so many aspects of vaginal health, and the microbiome is right at the center of it.
It's the linchpin.
So if the microbiome can be thrown off balance, it stands to reason that restoring it could be super helpful.
Totally.
How does a healthy vaginal microbiome actually help with healing, especially for someone dealing with pudendal neuralgia?
A healthy vaginal microbiome full of those good lactobacillus bacteria is crucial for having a resilient vagina. We already talked about how they keep the pH acidic, but they also help keep the vaginal tissues strong and healthy, which is super important for protecting against tiny injuries and irritation.
Okay.
Plus, a balanced microbiome helps the immune system in the vagina fight off infections, keep inflammation under control, and maintain a healthy balance of microbes overall.
So it's kind of doing triple duty there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is.
So for someone with pudendal neuralgia and all the vaginal challenges that can come with it, getting that microbiome back in shape can make a huge difference in reducing inflammation, preventing infections, and just making the vaginal tissues healthier and stronger.
So important. All right, now this brings us to the product you mentioned, Balance Complex.
Yes.
It's described as a vaginal probiotic supplement.
Yeah.
How does it fit into this whole picture of managing pudendal neuralgia and supporting vaginal wellness?
So Balance Complex is designed to target those vaginal imbalances, the inflammation and the discomfort that can happen with conditions like pudendal neuralgia.
Okay.
It's meant to be a way to proactively support the vaginal microbiome, and it does that by combining probiotic strains, natural anti-inflammatories, and ingredients that can help keep harmful microbes in check.
So it's trying to be a comprehensive solution.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I've seen some interesting things here. It says it's the original vaginal probiotic. It's been around for over 10 years.
Wow.
With millions of capsules sold.
That's a lot of capsules.
Right. And it emphasizes a high concentration of probiotics and includes things like cranberry and D-mannose, which we often hear about for urinary tract health. Plus, it seems like people have really positive things to say about it.
Great.
Yeah. So looking at the actual ingredients, what stands out to you in relation to everything we've been talking about?
Well, the probiotic blend itself is really impressive. It's got 100 billion CFUs per gram.
Wow.
Of a bunch of different lactobacillus strains like Acidophilus rhamnosus, Reuteri plantarum, and then also Bacillus coagulans.
So it's not just throwing any old bacteria in there. It's a specific mix.
Right. And each of these strains is linked to certain benefits for vaginal health, like restoring the pH, boosting the immune system, reducing inflammation, helping with tissue repair, and fighting off bad bacteria.
So it's about the quality and the diversity of the strains.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. And what about those other ingredients you mentioned, like cranberry and D-mannose?
Right. Those are smart additions because we talked about how women with pudendal neuralgia are more prone to UTIs. And both cranberry and D-mannose can stop certain bacteria from sticking to the lining of the urinary tract and maybe even the vagina. So it's an extra layer of protection there.
So it's kind of addressing two potential issues at once.
Yeah, it's a good strategy.
I see oregano leaf extract and caprylic acid on the list too. What do those do?
Oregano leaf extract is a natural antimicrobial, so it can help reduce harmful bacteria and fungi without messing with the good bacteria we want.
Okay.
And caprylic acid, it's found in coconut oil, and it's really good at targeting yeast overgrowth, which can be a problem for people with vaginal imbalances.
So they've got ingredients that target both bacterial and fungal issues.
Yeah, they're covering their bases.
Then there's protease and cellulase. What are those doing in there?
Those are enzymes, and they have a very specific job. They break down biofilms.
Biofilms.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, but biofilms are these communities of bacteria that create a protective layer, making them harder to kill with the body's own defenses or with antimicrobial stuff. So by breaking down these biofilms, the idea is that the probiotics imbalance complex can work better.
That's really clever.
Yeah, it's like clearing the way for the good guys.
Exactly. And there's still more ingredients.
Yeah.
Aloe vera, arabinogalactin, aniseed black, walnut hulls, wormwood, and reishi mushrooms. What are the main benefits of all those?
So those ingredients seem to be there to help with reducing inflammation, promoting healing, boosting the immune system, and providing even more antimicrobial action.
Okay.
Aloe vera is well known for soothing and reducing inflammation, which could be good for sensitive vaginal tissues.
Right.
And reishi mushroom can help reduce inflammation and support the immune system.
Interesting.
And then things like aniseed, black walnut hulls, and wormwood have been used traditionally for their antimicrobial and antifungal properties.
Okay.
And arabinogalactin is a prebiotic fiber that can help the good bacteria grow even more.
So it's like creating the perfect environment for those good bacteria to flourish. So Balance Complex is really trying to tackle this from multiple angles.
Seems like it.
Not just adding good bacteria, but making sure they can survive and thrive. And addressing those common issues like inflammation and overgrowth of bad microbes.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted approach.
So beyond a product like Balance Complex, what are some other things someone with pudendal neuralgia can do to support their vaginal health?
Well, there are some lifestyle changes and self-care practices that can really help.
Okay.
Pelvic floor therapy can be incredibly valuable. It involves working with a trained professional to learn how to relax and strengthen those pelvic floor muscles.
Yeah, because we talk about how those muscles can get so tense.
Exactly. And managing stress is also key because stress can make nerve pain worse and weaken the immune system. So things like mindfulness, yoga, or meditation can be really helpful.
That makes sense. Taking care of your overall well-being can really impact things down there.
Absolutely.
And what about direct care for the vaginal area itself? Any tips there?
Yeah, it's important to use gentle, unscented vaginal hygiene products.
So avoiding harsh chemicals and all that.
Exactly. Those can irritate sensitive tissues.
Okay.
And staying hydrated is important for overall tissue health, and it can help flush out bad bacteria naturally.
Right.
And then choosing breathable fabrics for underwear like cotton can help reduce moisture and friction, which can contribute to irritation and imbalances.
So it's all about being gentle and mindful of what you're using and wearing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we've talked about addressing the root nerve issues, supporting the vaginal environment with gentle care and probiotics, and making healthy lifestyle choices to boost resilience.
Right.
Now, we talked about Balance Complex as one tool. You also mentioned vaginalquiz.com earlier. What's the idea behind that?
So vaginalquiz.com seems to be a resource for women who feel like something's off with their vaginal health, but they're not sure what.
Yeah, that feeling that something's not quite right, but you don't know why.
Exactly. And it acknowledges that things like discomfort, dryness, odor, or just feeling out of balance are really common and often caused by things like hormones, diet, stress, even the products we use. And it stresses that it's not your fault.
Which is so important to hear because I think a lot of women blame themselves.
Yeah, it's easy to do, but it's not your fault.
So what's the idea behind using a quiz format?
Well, it seems like they wanted to create a quick and easy way to get a personalized snapshot of your vaginal health.
Okay.
They say it takes less than 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. So it's not a huge time commitment.
No, not at all. And it's supposed to be a starting point for understanding potential issues, whether it's recurring infections, dryness, changes in libido, or just wanting to learn more about your intimate wellness.
So you take the quiz, and what kind of information do you get back?
So it seems like you get a customized overview of your vaginal health profile based on your answers.
Okay.
So that could include identifying potential imbalances and giving you expert advice tailored to your symptoms and lifestyle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it might even suggest certain supplements or daily habits that could help restore balance and boost your confidence.
So it's like a personalized roadmap.
Yeah, kind of like a cheat sheet for understanding your intimate health without having to do a ton of research online or feel nervous about going to the doctor.
That makes a lot of sense. And just to clarify, the website is vaginalquiz.com, right?
That's it.
Okay, great. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We've talked about how pudendal neuralgia can impact vaginal health through pain inflammation and disruptions to the vaginal microbiome.
Right.
We've looked at Balance Complex as a way to support vaginal balance with its blend of probiotics and other helpful ingredients. And we've discussed vaginalquiz.com as a resource for women who want to understand their vaginal health better.
It's been a really informative conversation.
Yeah, I think so too. It's amazing how interconnected all these things are.
It really is. Pudendal neuralgia can make the vagina more vulnerable, and that can lead to a cycle of discomfort and infections.
Right.
But Balance Complex offers a way to support the microbiome and fight inflammation, and vaginalquiz.com can help women understand their individual needs and potential imbalances.
So as you're listening to all this, what aspect of your vaginal health are you most curious about right now? Maybe exploring something like Balance Complex or taking that vaginal quiz could be a great next step in taking control of your well-being.
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. Thanks so much for bringing all this information today.
My pleasure.
This has been a really interesting deep dive.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you then.